A very good afternoon to the panel and the august audience. Much has been said about the e-office of Sindhudurg, and I would like to first of all thank the team at the DIT, NIC and my own team members in the district, starting from clerk up to the middle level managers who made it possible for Sindhudurg to go paperless. Although we had many IT-related initiatives which were undertaken in the district, basically to improve the fountainhead of the service delivery. But keeping in mind the time constraint, I will just rush over a few of them. Before implementation of the e-office, we had more than about 12 interventions which were running successfully, and out of these, about 4 to 5 have been picked up for implementation at the state level. These included the management of letters or letter management system, file movement and management system, arms license management system. Then we had public grievance redressal system, a state-of-art district planning committee and management system, an old-time system of critical response system was also implemented in form of district collector note response system. Then we had another grievance redressal system in which we went to the villages, we recorded complaints of the people, and that was managed through Sindhu Samadhan management system, non-agriculture, permission systems. Then the very ambitious program of the government was regarding 100 crore tree plantation. So each sapling was monitored through 100 crore tree plantation management system, and we can place on record that if I want to know that how many cashew plantations have been done, how many plants of mango have been planted in my district, I can derive the information through this, and we can also know whether the plant is surviving or not and whether it needs a replacement. Also, we had a critical system of monitoring the meetings to be taken by collector. Collector heads about 110 plus committees, and it is virtually impossible to keep track of each and every meeting, whether the meeting notes have come, whether the instructions given have been followed up or not, or whether the meeting has taken place at all or not. Just for everybody's information, collector needs about 1300 to 1400 seatings, varying from 1 hour to about 3 to 4 hours in a year. And if we see the working days, they are just about 180 to 190. So every day collector has to sit for that much of time to monitor and supervise the departments he's heading in the district. So this was also undertaken, and it has been picked up by the state. We also had some election related systems in place which made our functioning easier. Now the advantages of these were that there was entire administrative setup could be effectively monitored. Through file journey management system, we handled about 32,000 files in a period of about 1.5 years. Over 50,000 references were effectively handled through the letter management or Tapal monitoring system. We could effectively implement zero pendency in our offices. The administration was made transparent and effective, and more than 110 committees were effectively monitored through collectors meeting monitoring system. Then these are few interventions which are at state level, so I shall not be covering them. Migration to e-office was one of the major challenging tasks that was entrusted on us by Department of IT. Now if we see, I shall cover my presentation basically into introduction journey to e-office, in which I'll cover the critical parts of business process re-engineering, resource gap analysis and filling it up, managing the change management, which is a continuous process, and it is the most difficult part of implementing any systemic change that we want to undertake, advantages and the way ahead. Now when we talk about Sindhudurg's e-office, it is the only model of its kind, and we can proudly say that it is the national model. It is the first district in the country to integrate the entire revenue administration starting from Tehsil level to collector level, and now we are integrating the Patwaris also into it. It has large geographical coverage, about 5,500 square kilometers, remote areas. As Honorable Secretary IT said, that there are talukas where we have extensive connectivity problems. All modules of e-office are only functional in this district. This is the only model of its kind. Over 350 employees spread across this entire district are using digital signatures day in and day out. We have set up state-of-art central registry units, which are basically the interface between the physical environment and the electronic environment. Mobile, we have put model data entry and training centers at Tehsil, at SDO, and at collector level, which are used for continuous training of e-office and other things. We have handled over 20,000 files till now, ever since the inception of the e-office on 24th December 2012, and more than 40,000 receipts or letters have been tackled effectively through e-office. This is the only revenue office in the country which has undertaken business process re-engineering of around 1,900 subjects which are handled by collector office, and this is the only model of its kind to have done so. Now, coming over why e-office, when we talk about this, an average document which comes to office, it is photocopied about 19 times. Paper files double up every 3.5 years. Paper usage grows up by 22% every year and doubles up in 3.3 years. You need filing cabinets, you need cupboards, and every 12 filing cabinets will need one person to handle them. Average search time of any document is about 18 minutes, and some are never found. At any given time, in a large organization, 3 to 5% of files are lost or misplaced. Large organizations, as a study suggests, lose a file or a document every 12 seconds. 92% of the information that is required for the effective functioning of any organization is in Manila folders. Almost half of an office's time is spent only in writing down the details of the letters or files which are moving. 80% of the information is paper-based. Email. This is like surprising that it causes about 40% increase in the paper consumption of the office. Every email is printed several times for action to be taken on that. One tree can give you only 12,500 sheets of paper. You can imagine the environmental damage which we are doing. And a letter in an average government office has to pass through 41 steps before it is answered. And it is entered into dozens of registers. You can imagine the loss of time an employee has to undergo. Why e-office is very clear. Natural calamities, huge destruction of the records can take place. Just to give you an example that e-office can increase transparency and any kind of manipulation can be avoided. This is a classical example which is always given to us in the academy, Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy, during our training, that any writing can be modified like this. Approved. If you don't want to approve it after some time, you can write note approved, and then it can be a note approved. Now, e-office has basic components: file management system, knowledge management system, service book, leave management, messaging services, and tour management plans. Sindhudurg has all these modules operative. We were very, very systematic in approach when we decided to implement the e-office. We formed a generic project plan, which I will cover in short. We formed core teams in each and every office, and the core teams were assigned particular tasks, that what they are going to do and what their duties and responsibilities are going to be. If we see the journey of the e-office, it started about 1.5 years back, that is 1.5 years back. But the actual working started in month of August. Then we carried out orientation workshops from September to December, in which each and every part, each and every link of e-office was covered. Infrastructure gap assessment was carried out in August, and all the gaps were plugged by month of October. Then the standardization and digitization strategy was worked out. When we start working on any system, like I said that we identified more than about 1,900 subjects for which the BPR was worked out, and we have total 2,350 processes or sub-processes which are in operation in running of any district. So these were standardized and they were put into the e-office. Standardization of activities was done, that who's going to do what and what are we going to take up. Employee master details and organization build-up was prepared. NIC email activation and digital token activation was taken up for everyone. Then training activities and launching of the e-office. Now, if we see the implementation phases, planning, preparation, and implementation, as I covered, these form three most important parts of any project implementation. And if you do not have effective control over these things, any project will not succeed the way it should be. So I'll just skip this part. I'll just say that Finally, your planning, your implementation and constant monitoring is what will matter in implementation of any of the plans which you undertake. Now, improvements which we did prior to e-office were that generally in government offices there is a starking shortage of computers and trained manpower. So we ensured that we give computers to each and every employee of ours using N computing or giving them personal computers. Internet connectivity of 100 Mbps or 8 Mbps was ensured. Email usage was made compulsory before starting this. Now, this is surprising that none of the employees will use email communication in government offices. So before we started our journey to e-office, we ensured that everybody uses Gmail and they communicate to their branch heads every day through email, just to make them used to using of computers. Video conferencing facilities were established. Websites were created just to make them aware of the technologies. Various softwares, 12 were operational. Tech Saturdays were used for trainings. We had special drive for record classification in which we classified records which was quite old. And during this phase, we also worked out our scanning load. So we consigned about 25,000 files to the record rooms. Many of the D papers were destroyed which were not required. And finally, we worked out that we have about 12 lakh papers and files to scan and put them into e-office or migrate them onto e-office. We made use of Unicode mandatory about 1.5 years back, business process re-engineering as I covered. Now, BPR was the most important activity which was undertaken, and this was undertaken in 3 stages. Now, when we talk about filing system in e-office, it was mandatory for us to teach our employees that what is the kind of filing system that is used in, as per the Central Secretariat Manual of Office Procedures, which is going to be the thing which they are going to do on the e-office. So we first prepared our employees to learn how to handle the files as per CSMOP in a physical environment. Thereafter, we worked out about 2,350 processes, and we worked them out all the processes in 10 steps. And these 10 steps were basically what is the aim of each process, what is the workflow of the system, how many days a person can keep the file, like how many days a clerk will keep, how many days a deputy collector will keep, how many days a collector will keep, and what is the ideal time required for clearance of a subject. Then, what is the model note sheet that has to be written, what are the model orders, model drafts, model letters that they are supposed to be, what will be the outcome of the process, and how this outcome will be analyzed. And last but not the least, which was the most important, was to cover one subject or process. What are the acts, rules, circulars, GRs, High Court, Supreme Court orders, etc., which will be required. So an employee will have the entire set of procedures at every point of time available with him. So this is how the BPR was worked out. This is just a model which how the file should look as per CSMOP. This is another part of how detailed this 10-step process was carried out. And we ensured that each branch, we have about 14 such documents, and they number into thousands of pages, which was written down and documented. And I can say it with pride that this is probably the largest documentation of BPR which has been undertaken in the recent times. The basic infrastructure I have covered, workstation was given, networking problems were solved, scanners and software was made available through various channels, including DIT and NIC. Now, the basic bottlenecks which we had were that we had certain infrastructural gaps which we had to cover. Pending record classification of more than 10 years was there. We had to scan about 12 lakh papers and migrate them onto e-office. We have huge connectivity issues even today at taluka levels. We had lack of trained manpower. We had employees who did not even know how to handle the mouse. Today also they are there. We had employees who will not be able to read and understand the links which are there in e-office, which are there in English. So we had huge challenge of training these people. The routine workload of collector office is huge. We almost cover any subject that is under the sun. It is given to collector office. We have many of the mission mode programs running. We had day-to-day working also. Apart from that, we had to train the people and migrate over to e-office. We did not have technical manpower, and in employees there was a fear of unknown ki e-office kya hai? Why are we going to do it? What are the advantages? We analyzed the gaps, and the gaps survey was done so minutely that we even analyzed whether a computer has the basic processes which are required. Is its hardware compatible with e-office or not? Whether the processes have been understood or not, whether these processes have been put in each and every person's computer or not, whether the RAM is 2 GB, 4 GB, 1 GB, how much upgradation is needed, and which Explorer which we are using. It was done for each desk. So the kind of nitty-gritty and minute details we went, this ensured the success of the program as it is running today. We covered the gap, one working desk, we gave computers, scanners, VPN over broadband was given to officers. Today our offices are remotely controlled. Even sitting in Mumbai, I can cover any of the files. And that's what I do at the end of the day, because we cannot keep our works pending. We have uploaded about 2,350 processes. NIC accounts have been activated for all. Open Office software is being used, and data training centers, 11 have been designed. Now, if you see a government office, typical government office, you will notice huge stacks of files. My office does not have even a single paper running in any of the branches, and this you can come and see. This is the training center, which is a model for the state. We have about 28 workstations. It can be used for data entry as well as training. It is there at tehsil levels also. We have state-of-art CRUs. This is the only interface between the physical environment and the electronic environment. Any paper coming is cut here. It's stopped here. You scan it, and then only the scanned copy moves forward, and it is stored in the CRU. The paper does not go to any of the branches. Human resource development. During these 4 months when we started implementing e-office, we had about 80 mass training sessions in which all the employees attended it. Then we ensured that we take table-to-table training. Each employee was explained nitty-gritties of e-office by resource persons going to each table. Thereafter, we created an e-buddy system that an old employee who does not even know how to handle his mouse was clubbed with a person who knows computer well, and he will constantly train him. So like this, we ensured that our manpower is trained. Technical manpower was provided by NIC and Maha Online. Changing the mindset of the people. I will cover it during the change management. Now these are some photographs of the training sessions which were covered. Now e-file process is very clear. Any letter which is coming, it is scanned in the CRU, sent to the concerned branch, and the branch either it will generate a new electronic file or it will put it in the existing electronic file. And thereafter only the electronic file moves. There is no paper movement anywhere else. Apart from this thing, it was very necessary for us to create a total knowledge data bank for the employees so that they do not even have to rise from their chairs when they are working. We have standard practice of having huge files of GRs, acts, rules. You have libraries stacked up here and there. So we decided that KMS will be populated in the most effective manner. So we created a huge knowledge database, and it was put on the knowledge management system. So our employees today, they can access any kind of GR, any kind of circular, any kind of document, any kind of precedences that have been created in the office. It is readily available to each and every employee on their desktop through a knowledge management system. It gives you a central repository of all the knowledge that can be there, and it is updated on regular basis. You want to see any kind of guiding text, it is available here. Even the BPR has been put on KMS, so the employees can know that how a particular subject is to be handled. We have an e-leave system in which leave application, cancellation, extension, joining report, approval, sanction, and leave balance can be viewed, and each employee can apply leave online. It can be sanctioned by the concerned authority, and there is no more movement of any kind of paper or any kind of even file for the leave management system, and the entire leave record of each and every employee is kept on the e-leave. Now benefits of e-office are very, very clear. If we say immediate outcomes have been increased in transparency and accountability. Everybody knows who's keeping file for how many days, how much of letters are pending with whom, and once a letter has come into the system, it does not die. It cannot get misplaced. And each letter, after it comes to the CRU, there is a specific number given to the concerned citizen or the concerned person who sends a letter. And through that letter number, which is unique, you can track this letter even after 20, 25 years. Quick disposal of cases has been made possible because now you don't have to wait for the peon to carry the files, or from Tehsil the file will travel. It will take umpteen number of days before it comes to the collector office and the matter will be disposed. Now it moves at a click of a mouse. We can monitor the pending cases in real time. Exact position of any letter or file can be known. Now you have a single employee directory in which each employee's role has been defined. In KMS, we preserve the knowledge in an organized and in an effective manner. It has reduced the workload of employees. How? If you have to maintain close to about 12 to 15 registers and enter the details of each letter and file, how it is moving, imagine how much of time it will take. Our employees now maintain no registers. Their only work is, if an issue has come, it has to be put in a file and it has to be moved. So that has generated quite a bit of satisfaction in the employees that their workload has reduced. Unproductive workload has reduced. There's a better work environment, which you will see in the coming slides. Permanent storage, there is no fear of damage or destruction. You save numerous working hours and man hours while working. If the system is working properly, you can finish your work in 2 to 2.5 hours. And rest of the time you can plan, you can use it for increasing your knowledge. And you can utilize the manpower which is available in a better way. Just to give you an example, we have started training our Kotwals and our class 4 employees in handling of computers, so that these people can act as a force multiplier while they have nothing to do. Now they don't have any work in the office. These were few images of the office you can see. This was record classification which was undertaken. A comparison, you can see the stacks of paper on each table, and this was the real working environment. And now what we have, even district collector's table would be cluttered with files, numerous files, and he won't even get time to lift his head. Our office looks better today. The way ahead is mobile office. Well, we have ventured into this intervention also. Sindhudurg happens to be the first district in the country which has undertaken movement to the mobile office, and now our office is available on the mobile tabs. Even today, if I want to see any of my records, I can see it on my Android tab. It has facility of notifications, knowledge management system, feedback, leave management system, and appointment management system available. Now, it has a notice board, so any kind of GR and anything is put up, I get a notification that new GR has come and I can straight away read it. All the details of KMS are available on your Android tabs. E-leave is available. You can approve, you can apply for leave while you are on your mobile. All the appointments. Appointment scheduler is being used for scheduling, rescheduling, and seeing each other's appointments. If today I have to go to a tehsil and I want to know what my tehsildar is doing, I can see it on the appointment scheduler, and if I don't want to disturb him, I can go at a time when he's free. So this avoids clashes of working environment, and time can be effectively utilized. As Honorable Secretary IT was saying, we are now having desktop-based video conferencing facility also available. So through link, and we have one-to-one and one-to-many. You can have as many as 250 users at a time using this system, and you can communicate with them. It saves time, and no prior bookings of system are required. These are certain images of BPR. Advantages I already covered. So in fact, thank you so much for the patient hearing. Sindhudurg happens to be only district in Maharashtra which boasts of not having any paper in its office today. And you are most welcome to come and see it. Thank you.